students, welcome to IFAS. So as you all know, we are discussing MHSET 2021 English paper. Now the time comes कि अब हम आगे के questions discuss करें, okay? So in this session we are going to discuss the questions related to जो हमारे लिटरेचर बेस्ड हमारे जो भी लेक्चर सीरीज चल रही है वो सारे के सारे क्वेश्चंस अभी हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. Okay, so the questions that you saw just now were the ones which we have already discussed. अब बारी आती है to discuss the questions which we haven't discussed. Okay, so I'm just waiting for few more students to join in. So students, जल्दी जल्दी share कीजिए lecture को with everyone so that your friends also get to know about this lecture and they won't miss their studies. The questions that we are discussing are the questions based on English literature that you must have understood as of now. So आपने देखा होगा the questions, so the 40 questions we have already discussed. उन 40 questions में से if you will see that most of the questions are the questions which are very much helpful or for which we have already studied. Yes, so अगर आप देखोगे for British literature we have already studied the British literature. Yes, so now it might have become easier for you all to give the answers for the questions. So जैसे मैंने previous class में भी बताया था that if you don't know the answer, start reading for it, start understanding it. So for example, if we are talking about Jane Eyre, then if you haven't read Jane Eyre, you have to go and read Jane Eyre. Yes, so for example, Jane Austen. Who is Jane Austen? What are her famous works? Yes, so these all things matters a lot whenever you are studying for English literature, because as I always tell you, English literature is all about the writers and their works. Yes, literature is all about the writings. And obviously then eventually we have to study who has written those works, right? And also we should know about that what is there in it and how you have to understand it and how you have to know about it. Okay, so that is why it is very much helpful, it is very much necessary to understand, to know who are the important writers that we have to study and the important works of those writers. Okay, so if you have seen when we were studying for British literature, what we did, we saw the famous authors, we saw the famous poets, we saw the famous writers, novelists, they might be playwrights. Okay, and then we studied them separately. Yes, and we saw them that which are their famous works, but we couldn't get that much of time to know each and every work properly, but that we can do in our in my batch course. Okay, so the course that has already launched on 14th of March, आप उसमें enroll कर सकते हैं and मेरे साथ आप पढ़ सकते हैं कि कौन कौन से ये important writers हैं, everything related to English literature. Okay, so if you haven't enrolled yourself in that course yet, do right away so that you won't miss your studies, क्योंकि हमारी पढ़ाई तो start हो चुकी है, आपकी ना हुई होगी, नहीं हुई होगी अभी तक, तो it's your task कि आप उसे start कर दें. Okay, so that is it from my side. Now we will be looking at some of the questions. Okay, now let's look at the first question here. What is the first question? The first question says that Rohinton mysteries, a fine balance is set in. Now Rohinton mystery, okay, so this A Fine Balance is a work written by Rohinton mystery. Okay, and it was written or it was set in, okay, it was set in Bangalore. I know the person belongs to Calcutta, the person belongs to Bengal, but no, this work was not set in Bengal or Calcutta maybe, but it was set in Bombay. Okay, the Fine Balance by Rohinton mystery was set in Bombay, that you have to remember. Now let's look at the next question. A dialect other than the standard or literary dialect is called what? Now this is something related to the linguistic parts, okay? So now in linguistics, what you learn basically the dialect other than the standard or the literary dialect. So if the dialect is not the standard one or it is not the literary dialect, then what it is called? So it is called as patois. Okay. So it is called as patois. So this is a very different name. I know it is difficult to remember it, but when you will gradually study for it, it won't be difficult for you. Okay. Now let's move ahead and look at the next question. So a word tone is called dash and sentence tone is called dash. So what the word tone is called as accent and the sentence tone is called as intonation. Okay, so whenever you are speaking a particular word, so for let's say if I say car, so when I'm saying car, this is an accent which Britishers use. Okay, so this accent is a British accent. Whereas, so while and so this this is just a word tone. Okay, so that is called as accent. And when you say a sentence tone, so when you are talking, so now when I am talking in English, so the whole sentence I am talking, so I'm putting the intonation, the stress on different words. So that is completely Indian English that I'm talking right now. Okay, so that is called as intonation. Got it? So what is that called as? That is called as intonation. Now let's look at the next question. Who does Philip Sidney in his essay An Apology for Poetry call peerless? Who is peerless according to Philip Sidney? So this is an essay written by Philip Sidney. Okay, you might have studied this essay for your masters, maybe An Apology for Poetry. Okay, so in this essay An Apology to Poetry, who does Philip Sidney mentions here? Peerless. Who is peerless? Who is peerless? Obviously the poet is peerless, because the whole essay is based on the poets and their poetries. Okay, so that is why who is peerless here? Poets are peerless. Okay, now let's look at the next question. Victor Shklovsky was a member of what? So if you will see the name, even if you don't know much about Victor Shklovsky, still with the name you can identify that the name says that the person is Russian. Okay, now just check what is it. So here we have different Russian things. So he was the member of Russian formalism. Okay, so Moscow school is also based in Russia. Prague school, okay, that is also related to Russian. New critical school is a different one, but he is the member of Russian formalism. Okay, so when you will understand Victor Shklovsky properly, the very first thing you should know about his background is this. Because now you can see that the questions are being asked from the background of the writers. Okay, so that is why Victor Shklovsky is a member of Russian formalism that you should know. Let's pay attention to the next question. So which among the following is not a Freudian concept? What do you think which is not a Freudian concept? I hope you might, as of now, you might know what a Freudian concept is. It is a concept by Sigmund Freud. It is actually based on the psychodynamic approach. And who is Sigmund Freud? Sigmund Freud is a German theorist. So now tell me what will be the answer. So in cathesis and anticathesis, libido is there, okay. Then sublimation is also there. Overdetermination is not in the concept of Freudian concept, okay. So that has to be the correct answer. Now let's look at the next question. E.P. Thompson wrote what? So E.P. Thompson wrote Marxism and Literature, Culture and Society, the Use of Literacy, or the Making of the English Working Class. Who was E.P. Thompson? He was a historian, socialist, okay. So basically he was from the 19th century. So why student nobody is giving me? Okay, we got the answers from Pratik, we got the answer from Rohan. Okay, so for Rohan answer is D. Yes, absolutely correct, Rohan. The answer will be D, that is the Making of the English Working Class. Now first of all you should know about E.P. Thompson. So he was basically famous for the radical movements, okay, in the 19th century. So in the 19th century there were radical movements happened, and he was also a socialist. So he wanted to work, he wanted to struggle for the working class. So that is why he also wrote the Making of English Working Class, okay. Now let's look at the next question. The scene in which Leontio's mother plays at chess with Livia while in another room the Duke effects his seduction of Bianca occurs in. So this whole scene is in one of the play, okay. Which is that play? You have to find out. So what is the scene? There is a character, Leontio's mother, and she is playing plays chess with Livia, while in other room the Duke effects his seduction of Bianca, okay. So this is the whole scene, and in which play or in which work of art is this scene occurred? It occurred in a game at chess? No. The challenging? No. The chase made in Cheapside? No. Women beware women, okay. So this is a very famous novel basically. So in that you will see this scene. So now let's look at the next question. What is our next question? Jeremy Collier is in a short view of the immorality and profaneness of the English stage attacked what? So for this, first of all you should know who is Jeremy Collier, okay. So for the time being I'll give you the answer, but for a longer run you should understand, you should know about Jeremy Collier. In a short view of the immorality and profaneness of the English stage. So in English stage it attacked the Restoration comedy, okay. So he attacked on the Restoration comedy and then talked about more. Now let's look at the next question. The subtitle of Thomas Nash's The Unfortunate Traveler is. The subtitle of Thomas Nashe's The Unfortunate Traveler is The Life of Jack Wilton, Dido, Queen of Carthage, Summer's Last Will and Testament, or Lenten Stuffing. What are the subtitle of Thomas Nashe's The Unfortunate Traveler? Okay, we are getting answers from Sakshi. Okay, so Sakshi is saying answer A. Yes, absolutely correct, Sakshi. It is The Life of Jack Wilton. Okay, so if you haven't read the works of Thomas Nashe's, please do it. Now here comes Charles Dickens' play. Okay, so Charles Dickens' Hard Times mainly deals with. So Charles Dickens' Hard Times mainly deals with what? Moral problems, religious problems, political problems, or social and industrial problems. So for that, first of all, you should know that what is the age of Charles Dickens. So Charles Dickens was in the 18th century. So at the time of 18th century, you already know that there was a printing press was started and English were more into industrialization. Yes. So that is why his main Hard Times deals with the social and industrial problems. Okay. So most of his writings are based on the social and industrial problems. Got it? Then let's look at the next question. The deconstructive angle is an essay by. Essay by whom? The deconstructive angle. Now I know you have one more name which is confusing, that is Jacques Derrida, because as you all know that Jacques Derrida is the father of deconstructionism, right? So there is a chance that you might get confused, but the deconstructive angle is a writing written by M.H. Abrams. Okay. If you know, there is a very famous book, and that book is called as the Bible of English literature. That is the name of the book is Literary Terms and Literary Devices, which is written by M.H. Abrams. That is a very good book if you want to learn any of the terms, literary terms and literary devices. Okay, so for that you can definitely refer to M.H. Abrams' book. So yes, that is one more thing about M.H. Abrams. So what figure of speech has the poet used in the following line? O death in life, the days that are no more. What is used here? Which figure of speech is used here? First of all, look at all the figures of speech properly. First one is parallelism. In parallelism, what we do? We compare two things which are parallel to each other. Okay, so both the ideas will go hand in hand. And then next we have oxymoron. What is oxymoron? Oxymoron is basically the contradictory statement. Okay, where the poet is contradicting one part of the sentence with his own part. Third, we have simile. Simile is again comparison between two things which are like things. Okay, but simile always has as dash as. This is a key figure to remember, or this is the hint that you can use to find out the simile. And then we have dead metaphor. Dead metaphor is also the comparison between two things which are in direct comparison. Okay, so now again read the lines. O death in life, the days that are no more. So now in this part itself, you can see death and life. How can death and life both be there in one sentence, right? Because they both are contradictory words. They both are opposite of each other. Oh, death in life. How can there be death in life? Yeah, death in life, the days that are no more, the days are no more. So here the poet is contradicting his own statement with his yes, so that is why it will be considered as oxymoron. So the figure of speech used in this line is oxymoron. Now there is one more homework you have to do, is you have to find out the poem from which this lines are. Okay, so this line is from which poem, that you have to find out and tell it to me. Let's look at the next question. So John Fowles, the French lieutenant's woman, deals with degradation of post-war England, Victorian love story, Elizabethan period, or England during Restoration period. John Fowles, the French lieutenant's woman. So John Fowles, who is John Fowles? He is the French lieutenant, and his woman deals with what? She deals with the Victorian love story. Okay, she deals with Victorian love story. So for that, if you want to know what his wife deals with, first of all you should know about John Fowles as well. Yes, so when you will be reading about John Fowles, that time you will understand the background of John Fowles, and when you are reading the background of John Fowles, that time you will understand the works written by his wife or his woman as well. Okay, so let's look at the next question. Who among the modern poets had an admiration for D.H. Lawrence, Lady Catherley's lover? Who has the admiration? Philip Larkin. Okay, now one more thing, to remember all these poets and to remember all these writers, what you can do is you can make a proper tree diagram or mind map for it. Okay, so what you will do in that mind map, so if you are, let's say you are talking about D.H. Lawrence. Okay, so when you are talking about D.H. Lawrence, also see who are the critics who have written about D.H. Lawrence. So whenever you are studying any writer, or also look for the writings of the other writers who have written about that particular writer as well. Okay, so with that, what will happen? You will understand more and more works about that particular writer. Okay, so and obviously you will also understand extra information about the other writers as well. Okay, so for example, when here it is written, now you have also understood about Philip Larkin. Yes, because Philip Larkin is the modern poet who had an admiration of D.H. Lawrence, Lady Catherley's lover. Yes, so that is why so whenever you are studying for any writer, just don't look for the writer and his works, also look for the other aspects of that work too. Okay, or of that writer too. That is one more thing you can remember. Now let's look at the next question, which is not a sentimental comedy. From all of these, which is not the sentimental comedy? Love's Last Shift. Definitely this is a sentimental comedy. The Conscious Lovers, The False Delicacy, and The Rivals. Which one is not the sentimental comedy? The Rivals is not the sentimental comedy. Then what is it? Who can tell me? Okay, so it is basically the comedy of manners. Okay, it is the comedy of manners. That is why it is not the sentimental comedy. And who is the author of this? Who is the author of this work? Richard Sheridan. Richard Sheridan is the poet of this sorry, not poet, he is the writer of this, The Rivals. Okay, now let's look at the next question. Henrik Ibsen, who is hailed as the father of realism, belonged to Italy, Germany, Norway or Austria? So Henrik Ibsen was basically from Norway. Okay, Henrik Ibsen was from Norway, who was hailed as father of realism. Let's look at the next question. Which modern play is described as a play in which nothing happens twice? The modern play is described as a play in which nothing happens twice. This is a very famous play. Okay, let's wait. Okay, so here Rushi, Pratik, Rutuja, John, Sakshi. I want the answer from everyone. Okay, so I'll give you one more hint. So this play is basically written by Samuel Beckett. Can you guess now? Okay, so we have answers from Rushi. Birthday party. No Rushi. No Pratik. Okay, Sakshi has given us the correct answer. It is The Waiting for Godot. Who is the author of Waiting for the Godot? Samuel Beckett. Okay, so Samuel Beckett is the author of Waiting for Godot, and it is a play in which nothing happens twice. Okay, let's look at the next question. Who among the following was not a war poet? Who among them was not a war poet? Wilfred Owen? No, he was a war poet. Ivory Gurney? No. Alice Meynell? No. Edmund Waller? Yes. So Edmund Waller was not a war poet. Okay. So for that, you have to understand that what was Edmund Waller. Now the last question. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run. These are the concluding lines of. So I'll give you one more hint. This is a what you can call it. This is a work written by Andrew Marvell. Now tell me the answer. To his coy mistress, air and angels, the sun rising, death, be not proud. Which is it? It is To his coy mistress. I know for the time being you will not understand the answers because you haven't read the works yet. But now you might have seen that there are so many questions are being asked from such kind of works, right? So for example, To His Coy Mistress. So this is a very famous work, and so you have to remember it. You have to understand it in a better way now, okay? Because you have seen the questions now. Because even if you are preparing for some other set, if you are preparing for UGC NET, these type of questions are very important, okay? Always remember to study. So now students, a lot of students ask me that ma'am, when we are studying, we actually don't know what to study and what not to study. Okay, this is a very valid question and this is very genuine question which everyone faces. Even when I was studying for UGC NET, I faced the same problems. because the syllabus is so vast, we actually don't understand, yeah, that what to study and what not to study. So as I always tell you, please start making notes, okay? So now when you have understood that these lines, thus though we cannot make our son stand still, yet we will make him run. So these are the concluding lines of To His Coy Mistress, right? So now write it down in your notebook, write it down wherever you are keeping your notes. So when you will be revising, it will be helpful for you to remember it, okay? So so now the questions or the topics that we haven't discussed, but if you are studying them on your own, that time also you can follow this particular method. Always remember to follow your notes, okay? First of all, start preparing your notes. I am coming up with a very brand new video in which I'll be telling how to make notes, okay? So do watch that video once it comes. Then with that you will understand that yes, these are the so this is how you can make notes. And with that you will also understand that how you have to make notes and how you have to remember each and every concept. Now one thing I have told you to make notes. The second thing I am telling you is that start making mind maps, okay? So when you are making mind maps of all the characters of all the writers, then it will become easier for you to remember it, okay? So for example, let's say if you are studying for Macbeth. Now you know there are so many characters in Macbeth. Now to remember all the characters, it becomes very much difficult. Okay, so what you can do, you can draw a tree diagram. So this is the main character Macbeth, and then you can say who is the father of Macbeth, who is the mother, if you know about them, but we don't know about them. So here you can write then wife of Macbeth, here you can write Lady Macbeth, then here the Duke, here you can write about the Duke, or you can write the king, okay? So you can write his name, then who is, so if you know his wife, you can write it here. Who are the other characters? You can, so this is how you can make the notes, proper notes, okay, and keep it. So when you will see this chart, it will be perfect in your head that yes, so this is Macbeth and this is the history of it, okay? So now with the help of that, it will be easier for you to remember the whole concept, whole story, and this you can do for every kind of maybe it is a novel, maybe it is a play, or it is a drama, or whatever it is, okay? So for that you can this particular pattern, for any story you can use this pattern, okay? So this is very important to understand and to remember. I hope you have understood the questions that we have discussed today. If you have any doubt, any queries, do let me know, okay? And so now we will stop the lecture for now, so that we can meet in next lecture in tomorrow's class. Please be present on the same time on the same platform tomorrow as well, to discuss and to know the other questions or the other question and answers of the question of the paper MHSET 2021 English, okay? So if you have any doubts, any queries, comment below in this video so that I will come up with the solutions, okay? So that's it for this particular session. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and thank you so much for your patient listening. Until the time we meet next, happy learning and have a great day ahead.